Enigmatic E.
Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you how to use liveportrait to create more dynamic videos such as adding body movements while maintaining facial expressions. I'll be working with Comfy UI and some editing software for this process, but feel free using any tools you're comfortable with. If you're not familiar with Comfy UI, I've got a tutorial linked in the description that covers the basics. This video will focus on using liveportrait within Comfy UI specifically. If your computer can't run Comfy UI, you can also use a service like Run Comfy, which pretty much lets you rent GPU power and even provides pre-made workflows including liveportrait. Alternatively, you can check out the GitHub page, but you'll be limited to working with static images, not video to video, although that might be all you need depending on your project. I'm not going to cover the technical details on how to install liveportrait in this video, as I already have an in-depth tutorial on that. You can find the link in the description if you need it. There are several ways to utilize liveportrait, but for this video I'll focus on two techniques. Using an image and video of someone making facial movements, you can transfer those expressions and mouth movements to the subject in the image. For the second option, you can transfer facial expressions from one video to a different subject in another video. This allows you to get something a little bit more interesting than just having a static image and a moving mouth. Before we dive in, it's important to note that liveportrait works best with human faces, particularly those with realistic proportions. It doesn't always perform well with stylized characters like cartoons, for example, The Simpsons. I personally like how it animates 3D model-like faces. Here are some key considerations. For the driving video, minimize head movement. Excessive head motion can distort the final render in unexpected ways. I often record myself making mouth movements while keeping my head as still as possible. And for the AI image or video, make sure the face is unobstructed, as liveportrait detects faces for the animation. If it can't detect the face, you'll run into errors. For the best results, I record myself and then bring that footage into Premiere or After Effects. I select the best take, make the composition into a 1x1 square video, and scale my head to fit the frame. Next, we need to generate the image of the subject whose mouth we want to animate. I typically use Flux in Comfy UI, but you can use any tool that produces high quality images like Midjourney. From here, you have two options. Use the generated image alongside the driving video, or use a video to video generator to add dynamic movements. There are many image to video services out there, but today we'll be using Lumalabs Dream Machine. It's a very popular service and they are the sponsor of this video. They just recently introduced their new camera motion, which allows you to select certain camera movements. You can find the selection of motions by typing camera in the prompt bar, and you will see a drop down of several camera motions, including a preview animation of what the results may look like. Let's go look for an image. I think this will work well with camera orbit left or right. Let's try left. You can always add some more descriptions in the prompt, but for now I'm just going to leave it as is. Now let's generate this. Okay, this looks really good. It actually does look like a 3D render. Okay, let's try something a little different. How about this one of Kanye as a Lego character? I will put the image, and this time I will simply type walking and then generate. And look at that. It looks so good. Here's some other cool generations I was able to create with this. So we're going to take these generations from Lumalabs to transfer the facial expressions to these videos. Ensure the final output matches the FPS or the frames per second of the original video. If it doesn't, your video will be out of sync with the audio. Once processed, you can bring the footage into the video to video workflow. However, if your subject is surrounded by people or there's a busy background, liveportrait might struggle as it tries to detect multiple faces. The way I sometimes get around this is by making the composition into a square and zooming in and adjusting the position so that the face is in the frame the entire time. I then export the video and upload it into the Comfy workflow, and it should now detect the face a lot better. As you can see, his mouth looks kind of weird, and I'm going to show you how to prevent this in a little bit. I bring that back into After Effects and make sure it's scaled to frame. I press Ctrl-Alt-F to do that. Then I make sure my liveportrait clip is parented to the original clip, and then I change the resolution of the composition back to what it was before. Now I just scale to frame the original clip and you're good to go. You might have to create a mask with feathering for the liveportrait clip if they are not blending well with each other. One issue I sometimes encounter with liveportrait is that the character may look like they're mumbling with some subtle mouth movements. This is especially common if the driving video has minimal mouth movements. A workaround I found is using the advanced liveportrait workflow. I made a video on that too, so there should be a link in the description for that video, where you adjust the AI generated image to have the character's mouth slightly open. Again, this is not every case, this happens sometimes, so you don't have to worry about this if your results are coming out good. To do this, use one of these parameters, like in this case I'm going to use gradually increasing it until the mouth is slightly open. Now that the mouth is slightly open, the mouth is going to move more natural when you run it in the other workflow. On the left-hand side of Comfy UI, you'll find the frame load cap, which controls how many frames will be generated. If you need to render in parts, you can use the skip first frames option to specify where to begin rendering. Check your editing software to determine the exact timing. There's a lot of creative potential with this workflow, and I hope that you find it useful. So until next time, take care.